Welcome to the 2004 off-season. First, the big exciting news is that we've actually added two new teams. So now we have the Tennessee Volunteers and the Purdue Boilermakers joining us. So that brings us up to 8 teams. And we will be playing a season with 6 games now. So everybody will play every other team except for one. And we'll kind of see how that plays out. If it's too much or if we need to have more games, we'll find out. As always, we start with the coaching carousel. So we take off 1 year off of everybody's contract, and we can see right away that B. Keaton, the best coach in BreakPoint, his contract's up with Indiana, and D. Fitz with Kentucky. Tennessee and Purdue also need 2 coaches, so this is going to be kind of interesting. I think Indiana and Kentucky both are going to be interested in keeping their head coaches. And the only reason B. Keaton would want to leave is if maybe he wanted to coach for Kentucky, Purdue, or Tennessee. And so I'll highlight that with just one single roll. And if he rolls a 1, that means Keaton wants to leave. Otherwise, he'll stick at Indiana. And then that leads to D. Fitz at Kentucky, where if Keaton becomes available, then maybe Kentucky fires Fitz in hopes of getting Keaton. So we'll do the Indiana roll, and then we'll decide on D. Fitz. So first we'll roll for Keaton. Again, if he rolls a 6 through 2, he'll stay at Indiana. And if it's a 1, then he's going to go look for a new job. So on the roll. And he does roll a 2, so he's going to stay with Indiana. And with a 5, he's going to sign a 4-year contract with Indiana. So no surprise there. Keaton stays in Indiana. And now we'll move to D. Fitz. With Keaton staying there in Indiana, Kentucky will definitely want to keep him. So I'll say a 1 or a 2, Fitz leaves. Otherwise, he stays, and there they roll the 6. So Kentucky loves Fitz. Fitz loves Kentucky. It's great. They'll sign a deal for, that'll be 3 years. So they'll sign a 3-year deal that'll keep Kentucky there with Fitz. So now we can move on to Tennessee and Purdue, where we're going to add some new coaches. Now looking at this, S. Mills, a 3.5, is available, and I think with that recruitment of level 5, he is definitely worth it. So both teams, Tennessee and Purdue, are going to make a stab at him, and what I'm going to do is roll the dice, and whoever rolls the higher one is going to get him. So for Tennessee's roll, it's a 2, and then for Purdue, it's a 1. It's a 1. So Tennessee will get S. Mills. So we'll add him there. And then we have to do a contract roll. And it's a 2, which is just 2 years. So S. Mills is signed up with Tennessee for 2 years. Kind of an experiment for them. And Purdue is going to have to pick up a new coach. So let's do that. We'll go with a Pete Bergerston, and his coaching ability is a 3, so that matches Mills and Fitz. And his recruiting ability is a 5, another 5. So we got 5 and 6s across the board. Not many below that. I think D. Wilson's the only one with a lower one. And then we'll do his contract, and with a 3, looks like they'll sign him for 3 years. So Purdue has Pete Bergerston for 3 years, and he's a 3.5, same as S. Mills. But now let's go into the coach updates. We'll start with Fred Lynn, and he hits a 3, which is a retirement star. So 1 more star, and he'll disappear. We'll go on to the others. Bruce Keaton, and he gets his first retirement star. Again, it takes 3 stars before this will be their last season. D. Wilson gets a recruitment bonus. Nice. So now he's a 5.4. Knowles with Notre Dame. He loses a recruitment, so he's a 4.4. Bach, second year with Michigan. Let's see how he does. Oh, he loses one of his coaching, so he actually goes to a 0. And on coaching skill, you can actually be a detriment to your team and actually change that into a negative number. So hopefully Esbach can get it together. But right now he does not help his team at all. He's just a good recruiter. Fitz gets a 4, which is no change. S. Mills. And he will lose coaching skills. So he's a 2-5. So there is a little difference between him and Bergerston. And Mills gets a role because he would have gotten one anyway. It's just new coaches like Bergerston that actually get skipped over. And then P. Howard, he will get a retirement star. So the two best coaches, Keaton and Howard, both get a retirement star. But still, nobody's got 2, so nobody's really at risk for losing it. Let's get to the player updates. The big takeaway here is Notre Dame and Valparaiso both lose 2 seniors, which can be very difficult to fulfill. So we'll see how they perform in the recruitment. Here we've got the recruiting, and I have 8 freshmen, 3-5, 1-3, 3-2s, and 1-1. So no 6s in this one. And we'll start out the first one. The F1 will prefer Kentucky. Indiana comes with 1. Butler, Valpo. Butler's got 2. Valpo's got 2. Indiana again. And the top one goes to Notre Dame. So there you can see the recruiting. Notre Dame, Indiana, and Valpo all get an F5. And then, from there, Butler with the 3. So we can start with the first F5 to Notre Dame. They need it. They'll take it. Next, Indiana has an F5. They need it. They'll take it. Valparaiso with the F5. They also need it. They need another one as well. Next, Butler with the F3. Butler does not need one, but they can take it over the junior, so they get a freshman 3, which will help out. Valpo lands the F2, has an open spot. They'll take it. Butler with the F2. They're going to pass. They do not need the F2. It'll fall to Michigan. Michigan does need the F2, so they get one. Next, Indiana with the F2. They will not take it. Butler has a second option. They don't need it, so it will go to Notre Dame if they want it. Of course, they're going to take it, so that finishes out F2. And again, we're 1 heavy. We don't need the F1. Nobody wants it. So that ends recruiting. So the last step now is just to fill in the extra teams. And you can see below I have a year and a talent. The year tells me what letter grade they are, if they're a senior, freshman, and then the talent is right there. So I can fill these out pretty quickly. You can tell I'm not making this up. And Tennessee actually gets a freshman 5 and a freshman 6. That's pretty exciting. Meanwhile, Purdue really gets a freshman 1 and a junior 1, so not very good for Purdue in the future. Tennessee has a bright future, and if they can get some good recruiting, they might actually pull this off. And here we have the totals for the season of 2005. We can see Indiana maintained their 33. Kentucky coming up there with a 28, followed by Butler with a 26. So kind of the have-nots are coming up to face Indiana, which is pretty exciting. Notre Dame and Michigan staying really close together, 22-21. And then we have the 3 teams, Tennessee, Purdue, and Valpo in the teens. So anything can happen. Probably going to see a championship game between Indiana, Butler, Kentucky. Maybe Notre Dame and Michigan can sneak in there. I would be surprised if Tennessee, Purdue, or Valpo have enough. But, anything can happen when you hit 3 breakpoints. So please tune in for the 2005 season. We'll see if Indiana can turn 33 into a championship. And thanks for watching as usual.